and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
No matter what the age, no matter what their work is or not, they still bully, and social media took a big toll on that too because it just gotten worse.
Teen suicide rates are the highest they have been in over 2 decades, and a rash of studies suggests social media is to blame. An area woman has been bullied her entire life. She says that Facebook and Instagram have made it even worse, and the bullying was so bad she had to drop out of school. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer has our story on what you need to know to keep your teenagers safe.
No matter the age, it still happens, and it hurts people, and some bullies just don't get that. And they just keep doing it until they either make you commit suicide or not.
This 18-year-old who wishes to remain anonymous has been bullied for most of her life. And she says that social media has made her even more of a target. This girl dropped out of high school because of the bullying. She thought it would put a halt to it.
I've been bullied on social media through high school, and even now I'm getting bullied on social media too.
The bullying has become physical. She says that a couple weeks ago, she was physically assaulted in an alley by the same people who bullied her in high school. And now she wants others to know the dangers behind social media.
They can do it on the internet and then delete it so that you can't really do anything about it.
Cyberbullying is taking a toll on teenagers' mental health.
There absolutely has been cases, especially more recently, where cyberbullying has shown increase in suicide rates.
The CDC says suicide rates for teens rose between 2010 and 2015 after they had declined for almost 20 years. And cyberbullying isn't the only way teenagers are getting hurt online.
Posting pictures, saying things about other people, also deleting one another or blocking. I hear a lot, she blocked me, she won't talk to me, he blocked me, so I can't get on his Snapchat. And so lots of different ways to exclude people from your life where individuals are feeling left out.
Getting upset over being blocked or deleted seems silly to some people, but Seek says one of the most harmful things adults can do is invalidate their adolescents' feelings about social media posts. In Moorhead, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Therapist Heather Seek says it's important for parents to be aware of how their children are using social media. She encourages adults to speak with their kids about cyberbullying and safe social media use. A pretty decent day out there. It's quiet, but we've got a roller coaster of weather in the days ahead. For now, let's focus on tonight. Hutch, anything to worry about this evening?
Nothing too bad out there. It's certainly a chilly one up in the Devil's Lake Basin where area roads are pretty slick still. 30 degrees in Fargo and near 40 down in northeast South Dakota. That's the warm area. Radar shows a little bit of moisture along the South Dakota border, Richland County into Brown County. South Dakota, this is where we have a few flakes showing up right now. This evening looks very quiet from the skies. We'll see a few clouds, but those could clear a little bit later this evening. Light north winds 5 to 15 miles per hour as temperatures slip into the 20s. Grand Forks will be in the low 20s by late tonight. Now, overnight, a chance for some snow. Looks like a cool start to the weekend. I'll have details because if you like warm weather, we have a little bit of that in the forecast as well.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
We are continuing to follow a developing story near the North Dakota-South Dakota border. Pipeline officials say the leak of more than 200,000 gallons of oil from the Keystone Pipeline is controlled and not a threat to public safety, and that cleanup is now underway. Our Sioux Falls affiliate KSFY was out on the scene, and reporter Kaylee Schmidt has the latest.
I'm near Amherst, just a mile up the road of where the Keystone Pipeline oil leak happened early Thursday morning and where heavy equipment has been coming in and out all day to help clean up this oil spill. Now, if you take a look at this drone footage, we've been told there are around 75 people working on this cleanup. TransCanada spokesperson Mark Cooper told me earlier this afternoon that there was oil found above ground, but they have everything contained. Cooper also said that safety is a big priority for TransCanada. No water systems or waterways have reports of oil, but the TransCanada crews plan on being around for a few weeks.
It's hard to say, but the bottom line is that it does take some time to actually clean it up, and then we have to excavate the soil and then put new soil in there and reclaim it and remediate it to a proper state. And that does take a little bit of time. Can't give you a ballpark, but it'll take a little while.
We weren't able to get any drone footage above where the oil leak happened. Security officials told us it would get too hazardous. TransCanada has also been flying around a plane to monitor the oil leak site. Back to you.
This is a picture of the actual spill site released by TransCanada. There were some questions about a 5-hour gap between the pipeline company detecting the leak and notifying state environmental officials. And South Dakota Environmental Management says they will be looking into the reason for that delay. West Fargo police are investigating after they say a man was run over by a pickup this afternoon. Emergency crews were called out for an injury accident in the area just southeast of I-94 and Cheyenne Street shortly after noon today. After investigating, they found that a 22-year-old man was riding on the running boards of the pickup and fell off before being run over. The man was taken by ambulance to a local hospital. Authorities have not released his name or given an update on his condition, but stay with Valley News Live for the latest updates. The man responsible for the murder of a West Fargo woman in 1995 will remain behind bars after the North Dakota Supreme Court rejected his appeal. Barry Garcia was just 16 years old when he shot and killed Cheryl Tendelin. His lawyers filed an appeal based on a new state law that bans sentences for juveniles without the possibility of parole. But justices said the law was passed after Garcia filed his appeal, and it would be up to a judge whether the law applies retroactively to him. Garcia is the only current state inmate who was sentenced to life without parole for a crime committed as a juvenile. Senator Al Franken has avoided the press since a Los Angeles talk radio news anchor publicly accused him of sexual misconduct while the two were on a USO tour in 2006. Weijia Zhang is on Capitol Hill with more details about what happened and what's next for the Minnesota Democrat.
President Trump tweeted about this picture showing Democratic Senator Al Franken's hands over a woman's chest during a USO tour in 2006. He wrote, "The Al Frankenstein picture is really bad, speaks 1,000 words."
Should Roy Moore resign, Mr. President?
The president has not said a word about allegations against Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore, accused of sexual misconduct with a minor. Talk radio news anchor Leanne Tweeden says Franken also aggressively kissed her during a rehearsal for a skit on the tour. Franken apologized in a statement, and lawmakers have referred the incident to the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate.
But some are now questioning whether Senator Franken should keep his job.
The Minneapolis Star-Tribune wrote an editorial saying the scandal damages his ability to be an effective moral voice for Minnesotans, perhaps too much for him to continue in the Senate. CBS News has spoken with 13 female former staffers who all say they've never experienced or seen any inappropriate behavior from Mr. Franken. Some issued a statement saying the senator was a champion for women, both in the legislation he supported and in promoting women to leadership roles in our offices. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Senator Franken was scheduled to be at the Miami Book Fair on Sunday, but he has now canceled that appearance. A Minnesota task force has set new limits on opioid prescriptions by doctors who participate in the state's Medicaid program. The Star-Tribune reports that the rule was adopted Thursday by the state's opioid prescribing work group, but won't take effect until they're approved by the State Human Services Commissioner. Doctors who exceed the new limit for more than half of their patients will receive warnings and undergo training. They could eventually face removal from the Medicaid program if they don't reduce their dosage amounts. Medicaid, by the way, covers about 20% of the state's population. The limits will only apply to outpatient prescriptions meant to manage short-term pain. The Reverend Jesse Jackson has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. In an emotional letter to his supporters, the 76-year-old civil rights leader said his diagnosis came after a battery of tests. Jackson wrote, "For me, a Parkinson's diagnosis is not a stop sign, but rather a signal that I must make lifestyle changes and dedicate myself to physical therapy in hopes of slowing the disease's progression." Jackson's father also suffered from the disease.